What's up, everybody? JC here, and welcome to another TNI live stream. It is Wednesday. I just remembered I had to crawl under my desk and grab my pen that I had thrown the last live stream. So, anyway, welcome to Wednesday. We've got a lot to cover today. We've got news on the Marvel Legend front. We've got some DC Multiverse news. We've got some Star Trek news. We got quite a bit. So let's just kind of jump into the news. Though before we get into the news, I do want to just vent a little bit because, I say, I got annoyed this morning thanks to Amazon. Back during, it was at New York Comic Con, I was there at New York Comic Con working, and that was the day the DC Multiverse Christopher Reeve Superman figure, the collector edition Christopher Reeve Superman figure, had gone up for pre-order, and I almost forgot. And by the time I pre-ordered it, it had already sold out at like Big Bad Toy Store, and I managed to get one on Amazon. And it took forever, but finally today it showed up. So I opened it, and what did I get? I got the goddamn Platinum Edition Drunk Superman that I really didn't have that much interest in. And this is what annoys me with the Platinum stuff. Well, it's one of the things, but it's probably the biggest thing, because when you're ordering this stuff online, Amazon doesn't know the difference between the Platinum and the regular. They just pull it out of the case and they ship it to you. But this was not a figure I wanted. So now I have this figure, and of course, the regular Christopher Reeve Superman is sold out everywhere. So I can't actually go, it wouldn't be that big a deal if I could just go, okay, well, I'll go over to Big Bad Toy Store and get the regular version or something. But that's not the case. So, like I say, now I'm stuck with this drunk Superman that I really had no interest in. And so that just annoyed me this morning. But anyway, let's do a quick roll call, see who is in the house before we dive into the news. We've got John. Good to see you, my friend. Austin is here. Happy Wednesday to you. Zim is in the house as well. We also have Steve. Good to see you. Greetings from Virginia. Good afternoon, Pisano. Maurice is in the house. Good time zones to all. Mr. Allmine is in the house. John from Ireland is here. Good to see you. Eric is here. Hanzo is in the house. What's up? What's up? Stygian 360. Cute avatar there. Good to see you. Virtual Dave 26. Good to see you from the UK. Always good to see folks from around the world here. Howdy, Jay. Been a while. Good to see you, my friend. That toy room is amazing. Thank you very much. It's my office / toy room, but yes, video game room, man cave, whatever you want to call it. It's a multi-purpose room. Mike, what's up? Rewatched last Wednesday's episode. What a day to miss. Yeah, what was it, last Wednesday we had the contest. Like I said, I think your name your name had come up on the prize wheel. Unfortunately, I think, if I remember. But we'll do that again in the near future, so you'll get another chance. Alonzo, what is up? Judge Dreads is in the house. What is up? Eric is in the house. Let's see. Got mine at GameStop and the Platinum Series at Big Bad Toy Store for the Superman. Yeah. Nerdzoic. Do they still have them in stock? They do. I might check them out. Oh, they do. Well, then I definitely will go over and check them out. All right, so let us get into the news. Let's, like I said, we got actually quite a bit to cover today. News these days comes in kind of droves. So didn't have much on Monday really to talk about, which is why I didn't do a video on Monday. But we definitely have some stuff to talk about. So let's jump into Marvel first. So we finally have confirmation on the price for the Maximum Spider-Man, which, as I suspected, was $49.99. Now there were some indications I was seeing later on that maybe it was going to be as much as 60, but I still felt $49.99. That was my original guesstimation, which is fact has now been confirmed by Hasbro. They did so in their comment section on their Instagram today. And this, of course, goes up for pre-order tomorrow. This will be available at Amazon. It's been confirmed. It's, I guess we call it this, a Famazon, whatever. So Amazon and fan channel retailers, which, of course, includes Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. So tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, if this is something that you're wanting to get, again, it will be going up tomorrow. So, and $50 is your MSRP, at least here in the United States. The price could vary a little bit overseas, I suppose, but here in the US, it's $50. So, new body, according to Hasbro, best articulation that they've ever done for Spider-Man. You get all these accessories. We ran a poll. Back on January 18th, I asked folks over on the Marvelous News message boards if they'd be willing to pay $49.99. Now, of course, this is not like a scientific poll or anything, but 17 people said yes, they would, and 24 people said no, they would not. So the no's were in the lead in our little poll that we did. But I still think overall, there will be people who won't want to pay this money and probably won't pay the money, to get it. But there will, I think this will sell pretty well for Hasbro. I mean, for me personally, I probably will not get this figure. I feel I've said this before. I feel like I've got a good enough Spider-Man figure already. And as far as all the additional accessories, most of those for me would just go in a drawer. So I'm not really doing toy photography and stuff. If I was into toy photography and stuff like that, this figure would have a much greater appeal for me with all the accessories and updated articulation. But for just a figure that would sit on my shelf, I'm pretty content with, the Spider-Man figures, and I have more than one that Hasbro's already done. Now, the second figure in this line, which should be Hulk, that one, I mean, I've got to see it first before I make a final decision. And that one, I'm guessing, is going to be probably like $65 because it's a bigger figure. So I think that, that one will definitely be more expensive. But that one, I probably would be more tempted to get just because I don't feel like I have that perfect Hulk yet. So, a lot of improvement could be made on like the last Hulk figure that I got. So I'll wait until I see it, but I feel like that one, even though it's even more expensive, would have a better chance of getting. And then the third figure, from what I've seen, not confirmed in any way, but looks like it's going to be Deadpool. And that's another one where I feel like I've got a good enough Deadpool that I don't really need another one, even if it's going to have a lot of accessories. So that one would probably be one that I would end up passing on. But this is definitely, a line where I think, you're just going to cherry pick based on what your favorite characters are or things like that. I don't see a lot of people being a completist on this line, which I feel like Hasbro knows going in that, which is why I feel like they kind of kept the price hidden as long as they possibly could. But again, big news on the Marvel Legend front for today is prices officially confirmed $49.99. And again, pre-orders open up tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't think I have much else. I did notice today ROM went back up for pre-order at places like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. So this one had previously sold out. But if you still need this one, want this one, it is once again available at online e-tailers. Let's see, what else? Anything else, really? I don't think so. We got a new Thunderbolt trailer during the Super Bowl. I think we got our first look at Century, but I don't know. I'm holding judgment on that. I mean, U.S. Agent's one of my favorite characters, though. I'm annoyed that they just call him John Walker. When they went through the trailer and they showed the names of all the characters, they gave the superhero names for everybody but Walker, which should be U.S. Agent, and they said John Walker. So that was a little annoying. But we'll wait and see on that one. I'm debating whether I want to go see Captain America this weekend. Maybe I'll go see it on Saturday. I haven't totally decided. But of course, that comes out this weekend. Valentine's Day. But yeah, that's pretty much it on the Marvel front. We already talked about this Hot Toys Captain America figure, I believe, last week, so that's not really new. Let's jump over to Transformers. A couple of things from MegaCon. So, I didn't mean to click on that, but we talked last week about the new Constructicons and Skybite and stuff, but something we didn't talk about last week. These are Transformer Timeline Comic Edition figures. These are based on Hearts of Steel. So, you've got two figures that went up for pre-order. These are being sold as Pulse exclusives, Optimus Prime and Starscream. It's a 2-pack, so $60 for the 2-pack. These turn into old Earth-style vehicles. Optimus, a train. Starscream, this older-looking type of airplane. And they're not super big. So these were on display at MegaCon, and they have more than just the two. I don't know if I showed you I don't think we had these images when I talked to you guys on Friday. So this is a prototype of the HasLab. We did talk about the HasLab, but these are images from the convention. There's the Optimus Prime and Starscream. But besides those, they also had, for this line, this Hearts of Steel line, they had Bumblebee and Megatron. So I guess that's going to be your next set. Megatron's a cannon, like a Civil War era type cannon, and Bumblebee also turns into a train. So you can see here, these aren't really that big, but if you were a fan of that comic series, I forget what year that came out, but it's been a while now. But more images of the prototype for the HasLab that was on display at MegaCon. The individual pieces. This looks gorgeous to me. This is obviously unpainted prototype, but this is Devastator, the new Devastator that they're doing. Again, we had the 2-pack go up for pre-order last week, but this is a look at all the new Constructicons combined, again, as an unpainted prototype. And to me, that's just gorgeous. So I can't wait to get my hands on that one. Let's see what else we got. Let's switch over to McFarlane. So I already ranted about my Platinum Edition Christopher Reeve figure, but the new updated 89 Batman figure with the soft goods cape has the little pole, so you can recreate the scene where he does his cape out like a glider from the movie. We saw this, was it last month during the first episode of the McFarlane's Toy Show. So this is going up for pre-order. It's already started hitting Target stores. So if you have a local Target, especially out on the West Coast, you might be able to find this on shelf already. But it's going up officially for pre-order everywhere, including Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, next week on the 21st at 12 p.m. Joining that one will be the new updated Batman Begins, Christian Bale Batman figure. Again, the first time we saw this was at that McFarlane Toy Show. So going up on the same day, Ahsoka the Geek, one of the McFarlane influencers, takes great pictures, has this one in hand. So he gave us some in-hand shots at this. Again, this is the Christian Bale Batman Begins. This also has been hitting Target stores, so you might check there if you want to get it right away. Now, besides that, these images via MCU Collector. So besides the regular Batman and Christian Bale Batman that have been showing up at Target, we also have a new gold label figure and a new red platinum edition figure. So if you're not familiar, McFarlane Toys at New York Comic Con said that red platinum, when you see the red platinum edition sticker, what that signifies is an in-store chase figure. So I don't think you're going to see this one made available online. So that means if you want the Scarecrow from the Batman Begins movie, you've got to go into the store. So right now this is showing up at Target. I can't tell you 100% that it won't show up at Walmart. I won't even say 100% that it won't show up online at all. But again, the idea behind the red platinum edition, we've got different color platinum edition stickers starting this year, basically. And so the idea behind the red one was said that it will mostly be an in-store chase figure. So, and right now, like I say, Target is the place to look for this one if you want to get it. And no idea whether Target will carry it online, but we'll have to wait and see. And then this is another one. This is a gold label figure. So this is 100% a Target store exclusive. It is essentially a variant of the Batman Begins, but it's, based on the scare toxin Batman when Scarecrow sees Batman, gets a whiff of his own toxin and so that one again is definitely, that's a gold label, so it's a store exclusive. And being, even though McFarlane hasn't officially announced it, being that it's being found at Target, that tells you that it's going to be a Target store exclusive. Here's a closer look at the updated 89 Batman figure, which looks pretty good. So again, those are hitting Target stores now. And then the Batman and the 89 Batman and the Christian Bale Batman are not Target store exclusives. They are going up for pre-order everywhere starting next week on the 21st. And that's about it on the McFarlane front since we talked last. I don't think anything else new has really come up. So let's jump over to NECA Toys. For you Howling fans, we've got a new Ultimate 7-inch scale werewolf figure. This is, I believe this is available now on Big Bad Toy Store. I thought it was up on Big Bad Toy Store. Maybe they pulled it down. I don't know. But it'll be up again, I'm sure, in the very near future. So we had seen one image. I guess this is supposed to be first to NECA store, but it's not a NECA store exclusive. And honestly, as we've talked about in the past, with the way customer service has been going with the NECA store, I wouldn't buy anything from NECA store if you can buy it elsewhere. That's just my 2 cents. But also, for you Turtle fans, we've got a new Karai figure, Casey Marie, I guess, with motorcycle. So another motorcycle for your Turtle line. This is from the last Ronin storyline, so which I've said before I've not read, so I don't know much about it. But you get the soft goods coat, you get the weapons, get multiple heads. So multiple hands, the weapons, multiple heads, the coat, and the motorcycle, and a little stand. So this one is available for Big Bad Toy Store. Maybe that's what I was thinking was up at Big Bad, but it's $69.99 and supposed to be released in March of this year, so next month. And I'm sure it'll show up at physical stores as well. And Entertainment Earth probably will have it at some point, but they've been really slow putting up their NECA stuff. So new Universal Monsters TNInews stuff. These are silver screen edition, black and white type figures. Again, have gone up at Big Bad Toy Store. The set is $69.99. We've talked about this one, the Horror Dracula figure, which is now available for pre-order at Big Bad Toy Store. So based on Peter Cushing, also known as Grand Moff Tarkin to many of us Star Wars fans, but of course was a huge, classic horror actor before he came to Star Wars. But this one, $37.99. We talked about this one last week. The Jaws figure, which was listed on Best Buy's website, but we talked about that one last week. Switching over to G.I. Joe. So we knew it was coming sometime this month, but now we have a date. So mark your calendar for next week. February 18th is when the G.I. Joe next live stream will be taking place, 11 a.m. We should be getting some new reveals, some pre-orders, all that kind of good stuff. I have no specifics for you, so I couldn't. I'm sure we're going to see more of the stuff that we saw on G.I. Joe Day, that we talked about previously. So we'll get more details on some of this stuff: the Oz Striker, the Snake Armor, the Ninja 2-pack. So that'll probably be a somewhat focus of the live stream. Let's jump back to Transformers real quick, because I just want to give you an update on the HasLab, which launched last week. We are almost halfway to the minimum funding goal of 10,000. We are currently at 4,710 backers with over 40 days to go. So I would say this one will get funded. Now, as far as whether it gets to all the stretch goals, I don't know. I think it'll probably at least get to the first stretch goal, which is at 13,000 backers. Whether it gets to the nunchucks at 16 and the stand at 18, we'll have to see. But and this is one where you're going to probably get a lot of overseas backers as well. So that'll definitely probably be, even if it hasn't reached, gets close to the end and hasn't reached its minimum goal, it will probably definitely get a big boost towards the end just from overseas backers. For you Street Fighter fans, we've got new pre-orders from Jada Toys that went up just today. So Sagat and Blanca are your latest pre-orders. You can get them at Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, $29.99 each. So these are kind of like deluxe figures. You get 2 heads with Blanca. You get multiple hands. You get a power effect piece. Overall looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit on the small side. If you like your Blanca big, then you might be looking at this one thinking it's maybe a little bit small. And I'm sure we'll get some repaints of this one at some point. And then Sagat, 2 heads, extra hands, and a power effect piece with a stand. Again, this one looks good, but maybe a little bit on the short side for Sagat. I feel like Sagat should be just a little bit taller, but again, those 2 are now available for pre-order. You can get them at Big Bad and Entertainment Earth. Star Trek fans. So we've talked about these before. We saw some images leak out from one of the overseas toy fairs a couple of weeks ago, but now we have official images. These are from Master Replica, which are based in the UK. Right now, these figures are only available for pre-order on the Master Replica website, so they'll be coming from the UK. They have like a essentially a flat shipping fee for the US of $7 and something. I would guess these will be available eventually at some place like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, but I don't know that for 100% sure. So the first two figures that have gone up for pre-order are Spock, based on A Strange New World. So not Leonard Nimoy's Spock, but the newest actor playing Spock in the new series. And then Picard Season 3. So I gotta say, both of these actually look pretty good. These are 4.5-inch scale figures, so they're more on par with the original Playmates Toys figures. They are not 6 or 7-inch scale, which I know some people are disappointed with that. The only one to me that really doesn't look that good, especially based on the scale, is Riker. Riker is, way too thin here. Old Riker has packed some pounds since his, original days on the series. But my guess is they didn't want to spend the money on a heavier set body mold, so they just went with, probably the same body as Picard. So, there you go. That, to me, out of these, Worf looks really good. And then you also have, they're doing some figures based on the animated series Lower Decks. So they look more cartoony, but they look pretty good as well. And then you'll notice in this one promo image, there's no mention of vehicles. But it looks like they will be doing some vehicles for the line as well that they're teasing in their promo image. So we've got the Enterprise from Strange New Worlds here, the original NCC 1701, but updated special effects, making it look more modern from the new series. And then also the Enterprise D, which did appear in Star Trek Picard Season 3. They rebuilt it after it crashed in Star Trek Generations. So I kind of disappointed we're getting the Enterprise D yet again, if that's in fact what they end up doing, just because, we've gotten the D. It's not my favorite Enterprise to begin with, but then we've gotten the D from both Playmates Toys and Diamond Select Toys. And Playmates just reissued their Enterprise D, what was it, last year? So I feel like, I know it's more, it's more recognizable by general fans because it was the ship from the original Next Generation series. So I get that, but I just feel like from a collector standpoint, since multiple companies have done that one, like if they had done like the Enterprise G, or even the F, though the G, or even the Stargazer, which is what the Enterprise G ends up becoming. They renamed the Stargazer the Enterprise G in at the end of Picard Season 3. So if they had done that one, like, I would definitely be getting that, because honestly, I'm more into the ships than the figures themselves. But if they do all of Picard, if they do the entire crew from Picard Season 3, I will probably get them, assuming they're carried at places like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. But I also, too many companies have tried launching Star Trek figures and then they don't ever finish out. So I probably would have to see them commit to doing the entire Season 3 crew before I'd be willing to buy them, because I don't just need a Picard. So that's just me. But we'll have to play it by ear. Now they're $25.99 each on the Mattel Master Replica website, and then, like I say, when you add in shop or shipping, it's going to be like $34, at least for those of us in the United States. So that's kind of a lot of money for a 4.5-inch figure. So I think that the price kind of hurts the line in that way. Back in the day when Playmates did this scale, Playmates is probably arguably the most successful company to ever do Star Trek figures. But the thing to note about Playmates was when that line started to go, that was really at the very beginning of when I think people started collecting figures as collectibles, not just as toys to play with. So, they were kind of on that ground floor with that line. And then also just Star Trek in general was at its all time height of popularity. So, that's why that line I think was so successful for Playmates. But in this day and age, I can kind of understand wanting to go with that scale that Playmates did. But because, the figures are so much more expensive these days, I think people would rather pay a little bit more and get a better sculpted 7-inch or 6-inch figure. Um, Most companies that have done Star Trek in the larger scale, they've been 7-inch figures. Diamond Select Toys, Art Asylum, McFarlane Toys, those are all 7-inch figures. I know some people will say 6-inch, but 7-inch has really been the going scale for Star Trek when you talk about that 6 to 7-inch scale. And even the nacelle company figures that are coming, they list them as 112 figures, but they stand closer to a 7-inch figure than they do a 6-inch figure. So, but again, these are 4.5-inch. We'll have to see, like I say, we'll have to see if any US retailers pick these up. We'll have to see if they're going to actually do vehicles. There's a lot that we still don't really know about this line. But again, if you're a big Star Trek fan, which I am, you might want to check these out. And again, for 4.5-inch, I mean, that head sculpt for Picard looks pretty good. This looks pretty much like the new Spock from Strange New Worlds. So, they actually have done a pretty good job with at least based on these images. Um, the Worf here looks really, really good too. Like I said, the only one to me that really doesn't look like he did in the show was Riker, because he's just way too thin looking. But new Star Trek figures are on the way. Um, Jump back here. We talked about some of these last week, but the new retailer wave. So this is the final reveal for that wave. This lizard guy. These are basically just repaints, but often these repaints in these retailer waves look better than the originals. Now, I don't really collect these, so Bernalis Arden Scale, I guess is this guy's name. So again, and this wave will be going up for pre-order. Was it later this week? Yeah, well, on Valentine's Day. So this Friday is when the retailer wave goes up. And then I don't think we talked about this one last week. This TU5CC guy looks like kind of a futuristic astronaut. The Phantom Trooper. This one I think we talked about last, or no, maybe not. The figure obscura, the Ghost of Christmas Past, in blue colors. This one we talked about, the Frankenstein's monster, the gods of ancient Egypt, mother of cats, and this one, the Anubis. Those we already talked about. So that is your 2025 retailer wave. Retailer appreciation wave. So places like Big Bad Toy Store will have these up for pre-order. Again, this coming Friday, the 14th. Street Fighter fans, amazing Yamaguchi Rebel Tech Street Fighter 6 Ryu figure. We got some new images for that one. This bearded look. So this has not yet gone up for pre-order, but likely will be going up pretty soon. It's supposed to be released October of this year. And like I said, I don't have an exact pre-order date, but should be going up fairly sometime this week, I'm guessing. New 12-inch Masters of the Universe Evil Lyn from Mondo. This is going up for pre-order, or this is available for pre-order now. Went up yesterday. Um, will be available on the Mondo website until February 21st. So you get Zoar, you get multiple heads, including an unhelmeted head for Evil Lyn with the white hair. You get her short staff, her long staff, her traditional staff. This staff from one of the, I remember the episode, but I don't remember the name of the staff. But this one that she used one time, multiple hands, a dagger, a necklace, a stand for the bird. Screech, sorry, not I said Zoar. Zoar is the good bird, the sorceress bird. Screech is the bad bird. We already talked about this, I believe, last week. Mattel Creations exclusive Masterverse New Eternia Panther figure is available. Still available, $40. Very metallic looking. But if you want Panther for your Masterverse line, you can get it. So I believe that covers all the latest news. Some new, for you Godzilla fans, some new reaction figures, Wave 8, have gone up for pre-order. And these are reaction figures. But nothing really new on the Super 7 front. Oh, actually, we had some new reveals this weekend at MegaCon from Mezco as well. So let's go over that. So we got a teaser for a new Dark Knight Joker 112 collectible figure. So this was not on, as far as I know, this was not on display at MegaCon, but they released this teaser for it. So no other details on that. For you Turtle fans, they showed off these new 5-point figures for the Turtles. So this is part of their 5 points line, which means 5 points of articulation. I assume this is going to be done as a set. So that is coming. Same if you're a Samurai Jack fan, these again are 5-point figures. You know, these are about 3 1/4, 4-inch tall, 5 points of articulation. 112 Collective Casey Jones. So a look at that one. I think we've seen that one before. Some of the turtle figures. New reveal Shredder 112 Collective Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Shredder. So that one is going to be coming. Again, more turtles. We've seen those. That's the old 112 Collective Batman. Great figure, but that's not new. 5 points. Back to the 5 points line. 89 Batman figures. This is Wave 1. Which we've seen before, but we got a preview for Wave 2. So Batman and the thug that he threatens to throw off the building at the beginning of the movie. Bob the Goon, Joker. Again, these are 5 points figures. Joker, you can see here, looks nothing like Jack Nicholson, but Batman, the animated series, 5-point figures. We've seen those before. This was being sold. Gomez with the bike. That was their MegaCon exclusive. Marvel figures, all of these we've seen before. Fantastic Four, Thor, X-Men. You know, nothing really new here. A big shout out to Tyrone for taking these images for us. We talked about Samurai Jack 112 Collective figure. We'd seen this originally at San Diego, but updated look at him. The Terrifier, never seen this movie, but 112 Collective figure, that one. Ghostface. But really, as far as like brand new reveals, the Shredder, and I don't think we'd seen the 5 point turtle figures before. But so not like really a ton of new stuff, but some updated looks. Oh, and if you're into Living Dead dolls, Nosferatu is now available for pre-order at Big Bad Toy Store. $51.99. I don't know how many of you are really into Living Dead dolls, but again, if you are, that is available for pre-order now. Okay, so I believe that brings us up to date on all the latest action figure news. So we'll just do a quick scan, see what you guys are saying. See a lot of comments in regards to Spider-Man, so let me see if I can get up here to the top. Judge Shred says, I got 2 platinum edition Swamp Things on mistake. I sold one for 7. Yeah, I could probably sell this and make some money, but it's not really about that. It's just I wanted the regular Christopher Reeve Superman, not the drunk one. But I will take a look at Nerdzoic, see if they still have them. If so, I might get one from him. Matt's a good guy, so. Slim Jim says he'll trade. Let me check Nerdzoic just because it's a little bit easier for me, but maybe. I mean, if I can get, like I say, it's less. It's not that I like just hate this figure. It's just I wanted the regular version, and the regular version is sold out at most places. And I really think they missed out without giving us a flicking peanut feature with this one. I mean, if they're going to give us Junk Superman, they should have given us a hand that's flicking peanuts. Am I happy or sad with the Super Bowl results? Well, I got to tell you, I could care less about the Eagles or the Chiefs. I thought it was a pretty boring game. It was a blowout game. So just from that standpoint, my team is the Washington Commanders. So we had a great season. I would have loved to have seen them made it to the Super Bowl. They came up 1 game short. But being last year, they only won 4 games the whole season. It was an incredible turnaround season for them. So for that matter, I'm happy. I'm expecting great things, and hopefully we'll see them in the Super Bowl in the fairly near future. But as far as the actual Super Bowl itself goes, I it was boring because it was such a blowout. And if I was a Philadelphia Eagle fan, and I was really in this position where Philadelphia is a fellow NFC East rival team for Washington, so it's hard for me to cheer for them. But so I went more with who I thought was going to win as opposed to who I wanted to win, and I did feel like Philadelphia was going to win that game. I didn't think they were going to blow the Chiefs out of the water like they did, but I was expecting Philadelphia to come up with the victory. Not that I necessarily wanted them to win. I just felt like, having watched Philadelphia play a number of times this season, I just felt like they were the better team, which it turns out they very much were. Everything else about the Super Bowl, I mean, from the commercials, I thought the commercials were lame as hell. It's a trend that I've been seeing more and more, where it's like, how many celebrities can we squeeze into these commercials? So instead of coming up with good, funny commercials like they used to, they're spending all their money on just jamming as many celebrities in. So, and again, that's a trend that I've noticed over the last several years with Super Bowl commercials. We had the Thunderbolts trailer, which was okay, but nothing special there. The Super Bowl show, I'm a white guy over 50. It's not, I've never been, even, going back to when I was young, I've never been a rap fan, not a country fan either. I probably like rap music better than country music, but neither genre has been my thing. So I could definitely, interpret some of the messaging that was coming from it. But I think the biggest messaging was just the whole Drake spat, which I could give two fucks about. So, that it's not my demographic, it wasn't made for me. So I really could care less about that. I will tell you that the next day, in typical social media fashion, places like Facebook filled my wall up with nothing but headlines about the Super Bowl halftime show from places I don't even follow. Like, I don't know how many headlines popped up on my Facebook feed about the Super Bowl halftime show. So even if I wanted to get away, like if I had to be on social media at all, it was like near impossible to get away from it. So that's just something that I hate about social media. If it wasn't on having to be on social media for work reasons, I probably would never go on social media anymore, to be absolutely honest with you. But but the game itself, overall, I didn't really care that much who won. I expected Philadelphia to win, but being it was such a blowout, I found it to be boring. And that's my thoughts on the Super Bowl. Mike, $49.99. What the hell makes it so great that it's priced at two figures? We talked about this before. So, like, if you're a huge Spider-Man, I mean, I look at it this way: if I was like, if like Spider-Man was my favorite character, right, and I love to pose my figures, or I did toy photography or something where I would use all those accessories and stuff, then I probably would be spending $50 to get the figure. Because I'm not that. I like Spider-Man. Again, I have multiple Spider-Man figures already. I don't really do toy photography, that type of thing. So it's not worth it to me to probably spend $50 to get it. But I don't really judge it from is this figure really worth $50? Probably not. If I'm being honest, probably not. But you could say that, I mean, you can look behind me and, say, or like any of these things worth the actual money that I paid for them. And, it comes down to whether it's something that's going to bring you happiness. Well, two things. First of all, if you have the money or not. If you don't have the money, don't buy it. Don't put yourself in debt to buy a $50 action figure. But if you have the money, if spending $50 is not a big deal to you, and it's something that's going to bring you happiness, then buy it. If not, then don't buy it. Don't feel like you have to buy it just because it's a Marvel Legend figure. But just don't buy it. So that's my philosophy. Anytime we get into these pricing discussions, I'm sure Hasbro's making a decent profit, but I'm also sure that this figure is not going to be produced in large numbers. Though that being said, I also suspect Hasbro will end up reusing this new mold with this new updated articulation sometime down the road with either another Spider-Man figure or use it with some other figure. I don't know. But they'll get their money's worth from the figure no matter what. But Hasbro's a business. They're in the job to make money. And, buy what you want and don't what you don't. But getting bogged down into whether it's, too much from a completely materialistic standpoint, I mean, everything is basically worth as much as what you're willing to pay for. That's what it comes down to. When you get into collecting, it's all about, is it worth it to you? Something is only as valuable. I could sit here and tell you this is worth $100 because it's super rare. It's a chase figure, right? I could throw it up on eBay and try and make a ton of money, but it's only worth $100. It would only be worth $100 if somebody's willing to pay $100. I could sit here and give you 50 reasons why you should pay $100 for this figure because it's, a platinum chase rare figure, it's scarcity, whatever. But the reality is it's only worth $100 if somebody else is willing to pay $100. And that goes for anything, whether it's cryptocurrency, whether it's, action figures, whether it's artwork, whether, whatever it is you collect, it's only worth as much as you're willing to pay. So, if it's worth, like I say, if Spider-Man is worth $50 for you, then go for it. If not, then don't. But Figure Fury really should have more head options and more accessories at $50. Though, the counter argument to that will be from people who will say, well, look at a Mafex figure, you don't get that much more with it, and it's like 80 to $100. I mean, that's what they'll say, and there's some legitimacy to that point. Is a Mafex figure really worth the money it costs? I don't really think so, which is why I don't collect a ton of Mafex figures. But that's me. There are plenty of people out there who will swear that Mafex figures are just so much better and they're worth way more than that kind of money. Hot Toy, same thing. I mean, I look at the Hot Toy prices, and those are not bad figures, but $300, $400, $500 for a Hot Toy figure, I feel like that's getting pretty damn pricey. Well, it's not mass retail, it's fan channel retail. So you're not going to see it at all the major retailers. Amazon will have it, but who knows how many they're actually going to be carrying. So it's not a store exclusive, but it's also not full on mass retail either. But again, I'm not sitting here telling you that it's worth $50. In fact, I'm telling you from my own personal standpoint, I'm not paying $50 for it because it just doesn't interest me enough. But I am also telling you that, quit getting muddled into, whether the figure's worth, buy it if you want it and you think you're enjoying it. Don't buy it if you don't think you're going to get the enjoyment out of it. You could say that about almost every company out there. I mean, whether it's toys, whether it's groceries, whether, what. So, yeah, maybe, but your power is you don't buy it. And if enough people don't buy it, they'll either lower the price or they won't make it anymore or what. But that's really what it comes down to. Mr. Allmine, yeah, I got that. Now I just got to wait till I get off here to go see if I can get one. But seeing it should be like 39. I mean, if I was like setting the price on what I want to pay for it, I'd say I'd go $35. I'd lower you down to $35, but that's me. And that's what you guys, like I say, and it's fun to complain about these things and bitch. Well, not fun, but we do it all the time online. But like I say, there are plenty of people who will look at it and say, yeah, I'm definitely getting this for $50. And you shouldn't be mad at those people because I would assume they're buying something that they're going to get enjoyment out of. That's why we collect this stuff. Well, that's why many of us collect. Some collect for value. I mean, some people collect for value. They think they're going to buy something and then be able to resell it either tomorrow or maybe, 5 years down the road or something. But there are people in this hobby who collect simply to resell at some later date at a higher price. I mean, many of us collect for different reasons, but Eric says, I have only a couple of Hulk figures, Diamond Select and Wolverine, Weapon X first appearance 2-pack, and I'm interested in. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me. One other Mezco. Again, only got a preview, but Mezco over the weekend teased a new 112 collective Hulk figure. So right now, this is our only image, but we'll probably get more looks at this at Toy Fair, which starts on March 1st. But again, there is a new 112 collective Hulk figure coming. Well, nobody's bending over for Hasbro, dude. It's just people are going to buy what they want. And if you don't want to buy it for $50, that's great. But if someone else is going to buy it for $50, don't be mad at them. That's my point. It has not, there's no defending Hasbro. There's no, but when people get mad, like I say, when you start getting mad at people because they decide they want to pay $50 for it because they want that figure, then you're the problem. If someone doesn't want to buy it and somebody gets mad at you for not buying it, then they're the problem. But people are going to base what, quit trying to tell people what they should spend their money on is basically what it kind of comes down to. Now, again, I will say to anybody, if you don't have the $50, like if you're having to scrape up and like, okay, well, I can't pay my bill because I'm going to spend $50 on an action figure. Well, then you need an intervention and you need to be like, dude, you don't need the action figure that badly. So this is disposable, stuff like this. You should only be spending disposable income on, not not giving up paying bills or groceries or whatever. There is no action figure that is worth that much. So, it's disposable income. And again, if it brings you joy, then buy it. If not, then don't. But some of you guys got to get out of this habit. You're not going to force Hasbro to lower their prices, okay? Just get that out of your head. At most, they would stop making the figures, but they're not, or they will cheapen the figures or whatever. But you're not going to force them to lower their prices because you're sitting there going, I'm not going to pay this much money. Now, if something doesn't sell very well, it may go on discount at the end of the year or something like that. If they overproduce, then it's possible something can go on discount. But you're not going to really force them to lower the price, making some kind of stance or like saying Hasbro's price gouging us. I mean, it just doesn't work. I've been covering this industry for 25 years, and I've never seen, where like a company goes, well, gosh, let's just lower the price because you're right. We way overpriced it and let's just lower the price. They'll find ways to cut corners, to cut costs so that it's made cheaper. Or like I say, they'll just quit making it altogether or what. But this idea that you're going to force Hasbro or any toy company to like lower their prices on something like this, it's a myth. And you can run around the internet and scream, and you can make YouTube videos screaming, trying to call Hasbro out. But it doesn't work that way. So buy what you want. Don't buy what you don't want. Or, again, if you don't think it's worth that money, don't spend it. That is 100% you're right. But quit getting mad at people who don't necessarily agree with you. You'll be a lot happier in my view. Werewolf figure are you talking about? You guys lost me on the werewolf. Jay's toy collection UK's in the house. Jada, the figures are so good. Gonna make a great collection. The shreds. Did you buy the Skeletron MK? I did not. I get mine tomorrow. The first crowd. It looks cool. I saw that again. As I've said many times before, I generally don't do like the independent stuff, or even like, it's a cool looking. I saw it. I think it was last year at Joe Fest. They had it on display, and it looks really cool. And it's cool how you can either put 6-inch figures or 4-inch figures in it. Like you can take out a piece in the canopy, so you can put larger scale figures in it, or you can put smaller scale figures in it. So it's a cool looking ship. It's just not like something that I personally have collected. And again, I get, oftentimes for me, it's less about price and more about space. But it definitely looks cool, so hopefully you will enjoy that. You sure it's small? It's priced higher on Blanca. Uh, I'm going by what I've seen, so I don't have the exact dimensions. Um, but from what, and I saw this one, I think it was at New York Comic Con or San Diego or both. I'm not saying it's small, but like to me, like I still have my Soda Toys Blanca, and I felt like that Blanca is bigger than the Jada Toys one. I don't know how many of you might have collected the old Soda Toy Street Fighter stuff, which I still think is holds up even today. So that's more of the size I envision for Blanca, which again I think is a little bit bigger than the Jada Toy ones. So I'm not saying the Jada Toy ones is bad. I'm just maybe for the character is a little bit on the small size. But again, I don't have exact measurements. I'm just going by what I saw, remember seeing at shows and stuff. Lower deck figures look kind of tempting. The others look good, but not enough to tempt me. See, Lower Decks is probably the least. I've watched a few episodes of Lower Decks, but I have like no strong attachment to that show. But surprisingly, I've seen a lot of people like say like I'm all about like the Picard season 3, and like I've seen a lot of comments say, "Oh, I'm I'm looking towards the Strange New Worlds and uh and Lower Deck stuff." So see, I'm just an old fogey who wants to keep collecting the stuff he grew up with and not is interested in the newer stuff. But it is, I like seeing that maybe people are getting into more of the newer stuff. I wish Jazzwares would make Star Trek ships. Their Star Trek Micro Galaxy ships are excellent. That would be. I remember Micro Machines when back in the day, and they did Star Trek. I mean, those are like really small, but like they did a Deep Space Nine um, space station, and then you could put like the ships on the Deep Space Nine. So that was a great piece. Jays, I do enjoy the Mythic Legion snakes, but can't pronounce it. Yeah, I think Four Horsemen go out of their way to make the names of their figures the most difficult to pronounce as possible. Shaping staff. That's Evilant, the staff Evilant. Yeah, that was the name of. I remember the episode. I just couldn't remember the name of the staff. Samurai Jack is tempting. It'll be interesting to see how many 112 collective figures of Samurai Jack they end up doing. Like if they just do Samurai Jack or if they'll do other characters. Only 3 more days to back the next Naughty or Nice wave on Fresh Monkey Fiction. The Christmas children have not yet been unlocked. Virtual Dave, any news on the Mezco Power Rangers box set? I have not heard any updates on that. I think Mezco will be at Toy Fair. Oh, I won't swear 100, but I think they will. So, I wasn't at MegaCon myself, so I wasn't able to ask any questions. But my GameStop here, I can usually get anything ordered or bought from another store. Um, Most of the GameStops around me have closed up, gone out of business. I don't. There was one fairly close to here, but honestly, I don't even know if it's still there anymore. Hanzo, they got to build out. They got to build more around Daniels, but they got potential commanders. Need a new stadium though. Oh, we're talking football. I was like, yeah, I agree. I mean, I knew, honestly, I mean, I was not expecting the Commanders to get to, the championship, the NFC championship game. They definitely made some tremendous progress from the year before, but they definitely had some glaring weaknesses. So I never once thought of them as being a Super Bowl caliber team this year. But they did an amazing job. So I'm hoping they build on that. A halftime show was pretty cool. They really did great production. The camera work was amazing. It's almost looked like editing between live and pre-recorded. The new cameras are crazy. I'm just glad I don't have to hear three-peat. Uh, yeah, like I don't know. Like again, I'm not a Chiefs fan in any way, but a lot of people just seem to like that always happens. Like if you get like a dynasty team, people just love to hate them, and I get it. But I mean, again, I when it just comes down to which was the better team, there was little doubt in my mind that this year it was going to be the Eagles. As much as I don't like seeing the Eagles win Super Bowls, but they were just the best team this year, I think, in the NFL. Profit Super Bowl was just very ordinary. I do think I don't. I mean, again, I didn't expect them to get as far as they did this year, so I won't say it's impossible. But I don't know if they'll be quite there yet next year. But definitely, I think in the next several years they could be. We could see them in the Super Bowl. I think they've got a great coaching staff. I think they've got a great attitude. I mean, it's no coincidence that Washington Commanders, which I live in the area, but I was a fan of that team before, long before, I think I've told this story before, but long before I moved to this area, dating back to Super Bowl 17 when I was a little kid, because I bet my dad, I wanted to stay up and watch the premiere of a new series called The A Team. And I had to bet my dad if Washington won the Super Bowl, I got to stay up and watch it. If they didn't, I had to go to bed because it was, I was really young and it was past my bedtime. And so, of course, they won. And so I got to stay up and watch the A Team. And ever since then, I've been a Washington fan. But it's no coincidence that Washington, basically, the moment Dan Snyder bought that team, you know, that team went down the hill. And then the moment he sold the team, they've gone back up. I mean, the ownership, I mean, it's amazing how much the ownership can fuck up a team. And Washington is the best example of that. Dragon Man was $84.99. That what behooves me the most as far as too much or too little. Now that is definitely, that is an even more limited release. That's, made to pre-order through Pulse only. So that a lot of that pricing has to do with just such a limited release. And Salome is walking in front of the screen here. What's up, Henry G? K-Mac, what's up? Hot toys collecting was not my smartest decision for the wallet, but they look good. I mean, you're right. And I have a few hot toys, but I would be fucking broke if I tried to collect hot toys. And even more so, I'd be sitting there. It would get to a point where, and I've seen this with other people who collect hot toys, where they're like, I cannot believe I've spent all this money on these figures. Now, some people will argue, well, you can turn around and resell them and make money if that's your thing, which there's some truth to that. But I just I'm not a 12-inch collector because I barely have enough room for the smaller scale figures. But yeah, they definitely look good. I'm just wondering how far they can take maximum line. People will overpay for Spidey, maybe for Wolverine and DD, and who then who. Like I say, next figure should be Hulk, and then from what I've seen, third figure in the line will be Deadpool. I'm sure Wolverine will come, assuming the line lasts that long. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a line that's going to have super longevity, but you know, we'll see. It will be. That's when you know a line doesn't actually sell because they stop making it. When Hasbro stops making something like that, like if we only get 2 figures in the line and they cancel it, we'll know that people, just enough people were willing to pay that much money for the figure. That's how you'll know. It's not how many people are screaming online that it's way overpriced or whatever. It's, we'll see, because Hasbro, if they can't sell it, if they can't make money from it, they're not going to keep doing it. So that's when you know a line is not selling well, because it basically just stops. We need to get out of this state of mind that it's always for us and we have to buy everything. It's not, and we don't. You're right, Henry, 100%. I mean, when I first started collecting, you had to buy it. Like I go back to the original 5-inch Toy Biz days. I was in high school when I started collecting those, and I would literally buy every single figure, and not just every single figure. I'd buy 2, because I'd buy one to open and one to keep on the card back. So I was buying like 2 of every one of those Toy Biz figures, and I felt like I had to buy every single figure that the Toy Biz put out back then. Now, I was under this delusion, just like with comics. I mean, I love to read comics, but I also collected comics. I put them in bags and backboards. Again, I would often buy 2 of each issue, because I was under this delusion that one day they'd be worth millions of dollars. And, comics taught me pretty quickly that that's not really the case. In fact, I learned the lesson that once something is deemed a collectible, it becomes a lot harder for it to truly become worth a lot, because everybody, a true collectible becomes valuable when it becomes scarce, and legitimately scarce. I don't mean when a company just deliberately only makes 1 or 2, but I mean when, you go and you buy a comic book, and then everyone goes out, buys the comic book, reads it, rolls it up, whatever, and it ends up over time, most of the issues get destroyed. But when it becomes a collectible, not only does the company milk it by making like tons and tons or variant covers or whatever, but then because everyone's saving it and taking care of it and protecting it and thinking it's one day going to be worth a lot, the market becomes flooded with them, because everybody has their wonderfully in shape comic from 1997 or whatever. So the moment something is deemed a collectible, it becomes a lot harder for it to be truly valuable. But yeah, I mean, the idea of, you've got to buy every single Marvel Legend figure that comes out, or anything in this day and age, the days of being completists, I think, if there's anybody out there that collects this stuff that's still a completist, that has to buy like every single Marvel Legend figure, or every single Star Wars figure, or every single whatever, those people, I think, are, if they even exist anymore, are, very few and far between. Judge Dreads. Mezco Hulk will probably be $400. What's up, Road Big? Eric says, yes, sir. We need to understand these companies are trying to profit from spending. They're obligated to make a profit. That's capitalism. So we have to make up our minds on buying. Again, 100%. If you're, and this is, it shouldn't be about, well, let's try and send a message to this company. It should be more about, if I spend $50 for this Spider-Man, am I really going to get that much enjoyment out of it? Or will I get more enjoyment either just saving my money, maybe just peace of mind, because you're going to build up a savings, or if I spend it on something else, am I going to get more enjoyment out of that? I mean, that's really what it should come down to. It should, like I say, it's not sending a message to the toy company. It's just, if I spend $50, am I going to get enjoy that much enjoyment out of it? And if you say yes, then go buy it. If you say no, then don't go buy it. And I mean, I think we've all been in that situation where we bought something and then end up having buyer's remorse, where it's like, man, you're sitting there looking at it and you're going, why did I buy this? At least I know I have. But there's also plenty of things where, like I say, I can look back here and I can point to something like, was the Dragonfly really worth what I paid for it? Yeah, because I've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of it. Was the His Tank? Yeah. Was the Sentinel? Yeah. Was Galactus? Yeah. Were they technically overpriced? Maybe. I don't know. Were these arcade machines? Did I pay, more than I should have for these arcade machines? Maybe, but I've gotten enjoyment out of them. They're great display pieces, so for me, they were worth the money, but they may not be for you. So, that's just a decision you've got to make. I buy what I buy, not worried about price or accessories. Maybe you shouldn't collect if you can't afford it. Well, there is truth to that too. Again, that's where I say, if you don't have the money, if you're having to, like, if you're sitting there going, do I buy groceries or do I buy Spider-Man? Well, then the answer probably should be buy the groceries or save your money. Don't waste it on an action figure, because again, this is all disposable income type of shit. You don't, your life doesn't depend on, whether you've got the newest Spider-Man figure. So if money is an issue, and certainly in this day and age, there's nothing wrong with that, then 100% you probably shouldn't be buying it. And I think, honestly, and I feel like that's something, as I've gotten older, that I've learned more. When I was younger, I didn't save money very well. Like, if I had money, I felt like I had to spend it. I had to have the newest gadget. I had to have the newest thing. And as you kind of get older, I think you kind of grow out of that. But definitely, the quicker you learn that kind of lesson, the better off I think you'll be in life. Eric says those Star Trek figures look pretty good. Marvel Legends Black Widow, the Target exclusive, was $27.99 at release. Retail price, 3 sets of hands, 3 heads. Now $50. But everything's gone up in price in just the last few years because of inflation. So that, and again, I mean, that gets into, if you're having to talk that's the other thing I would say. If you're having to really sit there and have, like, if you're just like looking for reasons to why to buy it, that might be an answer to maybe you shouldn't buy it. Like, if you look at it and say, yeah, I've got to have that thing, that thing is great. I'm perfectly. But if you got to sit there and go, you know what, do I really need to buy this or whatever? Then, like I say, or you're trying to find justifications either way, that probably might be an answer that maybe you shouldn't buy it. Mr. Allmine, in Canada, GameStop does really well. Unfortunately, no real competition. Got to buy from there or Big Bad Toy Store for more toys. Yeah, like I said, GameStop around here, there used to be a GameStop. I mean, there used to be there was at least 4 GameStops in just my general vicinity. But most of those, if not all of them, have gone out of business. Like I said, there may be one left in this area, but I haven't been up there in a while, and I know GameStop just recently closed additional stores, so I don't know if that was one that got closed. I don't usually go into GameStop myself, so. And I mean, to be honest, I don't go into physical stores much anymore to buy figures. I buy 99% of my action figures online these days. But that's because I live in an area that just sucks in general for distribution. And 9 times out of 10, you'll go into a physical store and they won't have jack shit. No other figure will get collectors to spend $50 other than on Spider-Man. After him, the line is doomed. Honestly, I don't agree with that. Like I say, the Hulk figure, which will probably be even more expensive, interests me more than Spider-Man. And Deadpool's got a lot of fans. Somebody mentioned Wolverine. I would imagine Wolverine probably has a lot of people that would be interested. But even though they've done pretty damn good Wolverine figures, but I think there's definitely characters they could squeeze out of this line. It definitely, you're not going to go deep in this line. You're not going to do some obscure character that in this line, it's only going to be for their main headliners. But Iron Man, I mean, they could probably do a really cool Iron Man, and I don't even know which armor they would go with if they did Iron Man. But you could probably deck Iron Man out with a lot of cool accessories if you really wanted to. Captain America, for me personally, I might be interested in, even though again they've done pretty good Captain America figures, so I'd have to think about it. But since he's like one of my favorite characters, so I feel like they could definitely, again, 100%. You're not going to do every single character in a line like that at that price, but I definitely feel like, and we're going to get. We might get 3 figures. I guess we might get 3 figures this year. It looks like, if in fact, if the Deadpool one is correct and they continue like Hulk, it looks like 2025 we'll see 3 of these maximum figures. But I'm gonna, that's the most we would get is 3 a year. So, I could see the line going for at least a couple of years. A K-Mac, yes. The Spider-Man figure MSRP has been officially confirmed as $49.99 here in the U.S. at least. Daryl B, I'm a completist on G. I have been. Well, no, that's not true. I did not get those anniversary figures, the generic figure. I passed on those. Um, and then as the line continues, I've been pretty. I haven't gotten. There's 1 or 2 others I haven't gotten, but as the line continues, I'm finding myself, probably getting more. Like I'm still debating whether I'm going to get the Awe Striker. Um, because it's not a favorite vehicle of mine. I'm running out of space for vehicles. Crankcase isn't a favorite character of mine. So, like, I am definitely on the fence about whether I'm going to get an Awe Striker. So, I definitely started the line as a completist, getting pretty much everything they put out. But as the line goes on and they do more and more stuff and they do bigger vehicles and stuff, I start to get more selective. It's still probably my favorite line going, but I definitely and it's not just money, it's not just the cost, it's space. It's I've got, let's see, right now I've got, you can't see it because it's off camera here, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 shelves dedicated to just GI Joe classified figures, plus like the Dragonfly and the Hiss tank and the Stinger Jeep and the 4-wheeler I have over here. So in this room I've already got so much space dedicated just to GI Joe classified, and so every time something new comes out, I'm having to sit there and make it. Okay, do I clear? Do I get rid of the Star Wars Black Series stuff that's on this shelf because I'm not really been collecting Black Series anymore? Do I decide to put those in a bin because I'm not really collecting those anymore to make room for more GI Joe classified? And so those are when you start having to get into those kind of decisions, because your space is limited and you can only do so much. those are the decisions you end up kind of having to start to make. And so the more that happens, the more you're like, the more selective I think you tend to get. If I just had unlimited space where I could display these things, and I'm of a mind where if I can't display it, if I can't see it and enjoy it, then I'm like, what's the point? Why am I spending money on this if I can't see it and enjoy it? So if I don't have the space for it to just put it out on a shelf and see it, then I'm like, what's the point? Waiting to see what those tariffs do. Well, that's not going to be something that just happens at the flick of a light switch. So prices are already, inflation is already on the rise again. Well, maybe not here, but I guarantee you there are people, I've seen people who like, they'll sit there in one sentence say they can't afford to pay their rent, and then they're out buying like a $700 Thundercat playset. I mean, yeah, there are definitely people who are not good at budgeting their money, who spend money on things they probably shouldn't be spending on right now. So yeah, that maybe not here with you guys, but definitely people in this hobby, 100%. Do a poll. See, John, I'm way ahead of you, dude. Um, you maybe came in late, but we did a poll on Marvelous News. I did it. So I'd gotten wind of the price. It wasn't 100% confirmed, but I'd gotten wind that the price was going to be $50 back in on January 18th, and so I ran a poll. Now again, scientific. This doesn't obviously encompass everybody in the hobby, and more people in the poll voted no. Though I will also tell you that when you do a poll like this, some people will say no and then they turn around and they buy it anyway. So yeah, you have to take that into account as well. But yes, 41.46%, or specifically 7 people said they would pay $49.99, and 58.54%, or 24 people said they would not spend $50. So the no's outpaced the yeses, but there were definitely yeses of people who said they would pay $50 for the figure. And again, that's just like a small sampling of people in the hobby. And I've said this many, many times before, and I'll say it again. Prices on these things are only ever going to go up. Okay. So, yes, one day $50 will be the norm for a 6-inch action figure. I mean, we're pretty close to that already, and it goes well beyond Hasbro. All these independent figures, companies that are charging $80, and you can justify that by saying they have smaller, distribution runs and things like that. But the reality is that there are tons and tons of like 6-inch 112 scale figures that cost at least $50, if not more. You can go on Big Bad Toy Store and just see a ton of them. So, and very much so, this hobby, the other trend that is in this hobby is it is going towards smaller independent guys, because larger companies like Hasbro, yes, when they do a $50 figure, they're going to sell less than if they were selling a $20 figure. So they're not, they're actually not making as much money. If they could get away with a high volume Spider-Man for $20 that they could have a decent profit margin on and sell, they'd sell a hell of a lot more and make more money if they could do that. They're selling a lot less when they're doing these $50, $80 figures. And so for a company the size of Hasbro, it's almost hardly even worth their while anymore, which is why you see Hasbro moving away from making toys. a few weeks ago, Cybertron.com wrote this article about how Hasbro's no longer making toys. Now, they didn't have any new information. If you've listened to my videos, I've been telling you for last several years that Hasbro is moving away from making toys. They're not stopping making toys tomorrow. They've said they're committed to things like Marvel Legends until, at least through next year. So, it's not like this is happening tomorrow. But yes, Hasbro is moving away from producing their own toys, in large part because the cost of doing the toys is becoming so expensive that it's no longer profitable for them. So they're licensing out their brands to other small companies who then turn around and give us these $50, $60, $70, $80 figures, Super 7, whatever, and that is the norm in this hobby. So you're getting a lot more cooler things than we did back in the day when you could only buy this stuff at the big box retailers. We would have never had any of these types of HasLab figures or anything back then because Walmarts and Targets would have never carried these. So you're getting cooler things. You're getting things that are more fan driven. But yes, there is a cost to that. And that is just the reality of the situation. And the hobby does become smaller because some people just simply can't afford a $50 figure, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the reality. But there are definitely people in this hobby that have proven to have a lot of disposable income who are perfectly willing to spend $50 on an action figure if it's something they want. I don't know if you can hear, but Salome is expressing her displeasure over the $50 price tag as well. So Hulk, well, I think, and I don't have any information on Hulk's price, but I when I first heard of this line, my feeling was Spider-Man was going to be in that $50 neighborhood, and the Hulk would be in the $65 neighborhood. So I was right on Spider-Man, and we'll see on Hulk. But I'm expecting the Hulk bigger figure probably to cost around $65. Mike ordered two Rattlers by mistake, but we'll take them. Payment wouldn't work on the first one. Ordered the second, and then when the window opened, both payments went through. And you know what? On those HasLabs, if you want to, I mean, you may want to keep both of them, but you could turn around and sell that Rattler probably for double the price. I've seen it with every one of these HasLabs. It's not something I do, but you can definitely, because people who come into the hobby later when they miss the window or whatever and they want to have it, they'll spend double. We say, oh, these HasLabs are so expensive and everything, but there are plenty of people who, like I say, when they come into the hobby late, they miss the window, they'll go out and they'll spend twice as much to get that item. And I've seen it with almost, like I say, all these HasLabs where the aftermarket prices end up usually at least jumping double. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I passed on the Thundercats Cat Slayer from Super 7 because originally I didn't think I was going to have space. I then started seeing the pictures of it and thought, oh man, that looks much better than I was expecting it to. And then I came up with a space over here. I'd have to move some stuff, but I could have made it work. And so I started honestly contemplating, okay, well, fuck, I missed the window for the original pre-order and it was like $700. But I'm kind of tempted to go out on eBay or something and pay, right now, if you look on eBay, that thing's selling for like $1,400, essentially double the price. And I've thought about it, but I weighed and I was like, at that point, I was like, you know what? I certainly have $1,400 I could spend on it. And like I said, I think I found a place where I could put it. But then I was like, but am I really going to get that much enjoyment? I probably could find better things to spend $1,400 on. and maybe as the economy gets a little iffy with, someone mentioned tariffs and things like that, I'm becoming a little more conservative with my spending, that type of thing. So I've held off on spending that much money on something like that cat slayer, but it definitely has crossed my mind because it's like I really like it. It looks really cool. I think it'd be a great display piece. And I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't buy it originally from Super7 for the $700 price. William, did I order? I did. I won her. I got one. I got one Dragonfly. I got one His Tank, and I'm waiting for the Rattler. But yeah, I've backed every GI Joe HasLab so far. Even the 3 3/4 inch Sky Striker that they did their first HasLab for GI Joe, I have, which I display back there. As a cool piece. If they can pack out a Deadpool or Punisher with tons of accessories and swappable parts, I might be. Yeah, I mean, we all have our favorite characters, and I think like I say, maximum line's not going to be for everybody, and I doubt there's anyone that's going to buy. Well, there might be a few, but I doubt most people will buy every one of those maximum figures. But I definitely think there are characters that will resonate enough with enough people that the figures will sell. Do I think Spider-Man's going to sell out? No, I don't think you have to be, I don't think you necessarily have to worry about it selling out instantly, meaning you don't have to be there online the moment it goes up for pre-order, that type of thing. But I do think it'll probably sell decently enough for Hasbro. And Hasbro has plenty of sales data, you know, so when they go in, they know that, they have a pretty good idea, I think, when they, price these things out and know what's going to sell and what's not going to sell. Not always, they screw up sometimes and they overestimate or underestimate or whatever, but they have enough sales data, I imagine, that, they have a decent enough idea of what's going to work and what's not going to work. The Mythic, yeah. Oh my god, that thing. I mean, I'm glad I'm not much into dragons because I probably would get a Fing Fang Foom if Hasbro ever did, a HasLab for that. But as incredible as that Four Horseman dragon, which they have not given us a price on that yet either. Um, but that thing, yeah, that thing's not going to be cheap. That thing is going to be huge, but I mean, it's going to be a gorgeous piece and probably will be something that will go up in value. So, assuming you can keep it in good shape and everything. Now, something like that is going to be very delicate. If you open it and try and display it, it's probably something that might break easy. And especially over time, it's not going to be easy to move. So those are all things you have to take into consideration. But yeah, I mean, that's not going to be cheap, and but it probably will increase in value if you can manage to keep it in good shape. See, that's one of my things is I'm horrible. It's one of the reasons why I probably never became a inbox collector. I'm horrible at keeping things in good like pristine shape. um Over time, whether it's because I move or what, boxes get dinged, and stuff. So I just ended up like, shit, I'm just going to open everything I have. And I don't actually open everything, but I try to open most of the things that I don't buy things generally with the intent that like I'm going to keep it in the package and hope it goes up in value or something. It's just never, at least, again, when I was very young, I maybe collected that way, but certainly in my adulthood, it's not what I've collected. Now there are things where I'll buy it and then I'm like, shit, I don't have any place to display this, so I'm not going to open it right now. And then it goes on a shelf and sits there. So I've done that before, more times than I like. But generally, when I buy something, I buy it with the intent to open it and try and display it. Judge Dredd says, I have a dragon shelf and I'm ready and craving. That's got to be one hell of a shelf, because, I mean, that's going to be something where you need like a table to display it, because I don't think that thing's going to fit on any old shelf. I didn't see it in person. I wasn't, was it at a Legion Con that they had that thing on display? So I haven't seen it in person yet, but that thing looked just huge. What do you think about the Raymond Toys Super Musk, aka Turtle Sewer playset? I haven't looked at it that closely. I didn't buy the NECA Turtle playset stuff, which honestly, thank God, after all the hassle that people went through with that. But I also just don't look at third party stuff that much. But I eyed Raymond Toys, or Ramen Toys is I always say Raymond, but it's ramen. I was eyeing their GI Joe tank that you can convert into the Wolverine tank. I had contemplated that briefly, but it came down to, again, space was kind of an issue. But yeah, so I mean, there's so many things. I mean, that's the other thing. It's like I say, prices have gone up in this hobby, but we have gotten so many cool things in recent years that we would have, when I started, covering this stuff 25 years ago, we would have never dreamed of getting. And, I don't know which is better. I don't know if, having the low prices at the mass retail stores with just the general stuff, or having the higher prices and getting, stuff that, like I said, you would have never at one point dreamed of getting from these companies. I can't, I'm not going to sit here and tell you which is better. I don't know. I guess I would probably lean to, being able to get the stuff that's incredible, even if you're paying, a fair amount of money for it. But, that's really something, again, each one of us would have to answer for ourselves. But, again, there is that offset where, yeah, we're paying more, but we're getting just like things that are like I say, we just never would have gotten at one time in this hobby. All right. Well, we've gone way over today. It's almost 5 o'clock. So, but good conversation. Definitely. This is kind of stuff that we should all talk about. I mean, this is stuff. I think it's good to discuss and such. And like I say, I'm not here to tell you what to buy and what not to buy. If you think something like that Spider-Man is way overpriced, I'm more power to you for not buying it. In fact, like I say, in the particular case of Spider-Man, I personally am probably not going to buy it. So I'm kind of there with you. But again, try not to get mad at those who do decide they want to buy it or do think they're it's worth the money or whatever, because we all have our different opinions and we all see things through different lenses. So, but again, thank you all for tuning in. I will probably be back on Friday. I won't say 100%. A lot will just depend on news and stuff, but probably we'll have a say 50-50 chance of having a video up on Friday, live stream video, same time and everything. But thank you all for joining me today. Once again, I just want to give a shout out to everyone who has become an Action Figure Enthusiast channel member. Much appreciated for all of you. Right now, current number is 39 members. So it is always, like I said, super appreciative of that. Super appreciative of those of you who just like to listen to me ramble, even if you're not an Action Figure Enthusiast member. So thank you, everybody. Have a great week. Stay safe out there. If you're somewhere that's getting snow, we got 4 to 5 inches of snow here last night, so we're covered in snow here again. But if you had snow, enjoy it. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later. And I missed my cue on the video, but here we go. Catch you later. Thanks for watching today's video. Now, if you're new to the channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. For all the latest action figure news, be sure to head over to ToyNewsEye.com, MarvelousNews.com, JediInsider.com, and TFormers.com. And remember, action figures are great,